At the Centurion Trust Bank, an ordinary workday begins. One of the managers decides to grab a coffee and heads to the kitchen. Flashes of gunfire flicker in his mind, and the sound of police sirens from the street stirs unease. Later, he steps into the hall just as Detective Tom Eager enters. Everything seems as usual. Security guards monitor the floor, clerks handle paperwork, and customers wait their turn when a woman walks in. One of the clerks listens to the street sounds, addressing a young woman seated in the hall.
I hate sirens. Never know if it's your own damn house on fire.
At that moment, the bank manager calls the young woman into his office, and she leaves. Eager finally approaches the counter and hands a deposit slip to a bank employee. The manager apologizes to Leah Dillon for making her wait.
Thanks for waiting out there. I appreciate your patience. We're just crazy after the holiday weekend. It gets to be a bit of a circus around here.
At the same time, Eager flirts with the teller, Susan, joking about fire and marshmallows they could roast over the enormous blaze. Meanwhile, the woman who had entered earlier starts arguing with the cashier, Mary. Mary promises to check the accounts, temporarily calming the irate visitor.
That's quite impossible when I made a big deposit yesterday, so fix it.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, you do that.
As Eager heads out, he asks a security guard to keep an eye on
It
things.
looks like things are getting kind of serious out there. You mind make sure everybody gets out okay?
Simultaneously, the manager speaks with Leah, who is applying for a position at the bank. Her resume lists work at large corporations, but there's a gap in her employment history. Leah explains that she traveled extensively and taught English to children at a parish in Mexico. She had to return due to a relative's illness, but assures the manager she's ready to work. However, the man has a couple of questions.
This checks out. We do a background check. It's just a formality, but they're pretty thorough. You expect any red flags there? Any issues?
No.
In the hall, the visitor grows increasingly hostile, leaving Mary unable to get a word in as she berates the bank for allegedly charging illegal penalties. Outside, Detective Eager passes by 3 firefighters inspecting their equipment and gets into his partner's car. Back in the bank, the manager confides in Leah about their hiring difficulties.
I mean, it's silly, but since you asked, it's an old building. And some people get spooked in here and they think they hear and see things. And so I swear to God, it's just people talking and getting in their head.
Meanwhile, in the hall, the visitor demands to see the manager. Susan steps in to address the situation, joined by a security guard. Other bank employees begin to glance nervously at the commotion. The assistant manager continues his conversation with Leah, who assures him she's not easily intimidated. At this moment, Susan confronts the disruptive visitor, pointing out that she's not even a client of their bank. Another clerk joins the conversation.
Check again.
Is there a problem?
No, there's no problem at all, actually.
Hey, your shitty life is not my problem.
Sir, can you let
Somebody
us
get her
handle
out of
this,
here.
sir?
Just then, 3 firefighters enter the building. Leah subtly nods to the irate visitor, who suddenly attacks the security guard. He collapses from a hard blow to the face, and as everyone struggles to comprehend the chaos, Leah draws a gun and targets the assistant manager. The guard at the door signals the alarm. As he rushes toward the counter, one of the firefighters knocks him out cold. The other 2 take everyone hostage, covering their heads with bags. The disruptive visitor, revealed to be Leah's sister, V, collects phones from the captives while another accomplice sprays over the security cameras with paint. The third forces a guard to respond to a police inquiry, assuring them that everything is under control. The guard has no choice but to comply. However, Eager decides to check the bank, but his radio suddenly emits a voice.
This is Trust. We have a robbery in progress. A3 and 4. Please send the police with all available in progress right now. They're in the building. They're taking hostages, so as soon as you can.
Inside the bank, a robber orders the cashiers to open the vault while his accomplice continues to obscure the cameras. Leah confronts the manager, urging him not to act heroically, reminding him of his family. Meanwhile, in the hall, one of the robbers scolds V for attacking the guard, insisting they agreed not to hurt anyone. V dismisses his concerns, saying there's no room for niceties in their plan.
Don't hurt anybody, okay?
Well,
That's what we agreed. All
all
right?
right, fine.
The third accomplice orders the cashiers to open the vault. The terrified women work agonizingly slowly. When they finally manage to unlock it, the robber shoves them inside. Holding Mary at gunpoint, he watches as Susan attempts to open the safe. Her trembling hands fail to insert the key. Frustrated, he swaps the women.
You're okay. Don't be nervous. I see nervous.
Mary eventually opens a small safe. Meanwhile, in the hall, a bank manager attempts to flee but is accidentally shot in the knee. Leah rushes to help, trying to stop the bleeding, but he writhes and screams. Another robber, Michael, knocks him unconscious, removes his mask, and begins dressing the wound while apologizing to the victim. Another, larger safe remains locked, and Susan's nerves cause her to fumble the combination. She finally opens the large safe, but it contains only a small amount of cash. The robber angrily shows the haul, just over $70,000. The robbers argue about their next move. Two men remove their masks as Leah urges them to leave, but V remains defiant.
Let's go.
What?
Let's go.
Let's go?
Go.
Can leave? You're not gonna leave? You're not going anywhere. Come on, we came here for him. We came here to do this for him, and we're not leaving until we do it. Do you understand that?
The sisters' disagreement escalates into a fight. Michael, however, sides with Leah, suggesting they leave before anyone gets seriously hurt or the police are alerted. But Cyrus raises his weapon, refusing to leave empty-handed. Leah aims her gun at him, and tensions reach a boiling point. Suddenly, a hostage, the assistant manager, offers his help.
You.
Who the f*** are you?
I'm the assistant manager. I know this bank inside and out.
To prove his sincerity, he reveals the location of the alarm button, advising them to disable it quickly as transactions must be recorded in the database and verified with the manager's PIN. Otherwise, the alarm will activate. He promises to assist if they ensure no one else gets hurt. V agrees and removes the bag from his head. The man disables the alarm and reveals the location of additional cash.
Where's the rest of the money?
It's down below. That's where the real money is, in the old vault.
You can get in there?
It's a private vault. It's part of the old bank. We just house it. It's antiquated. It's not even on the grid.
Kramer admits they have the tools to open any door, and Cyrus reminds everyone of the massive fire they started, which has drawn all police resources. Moreover, the clerk mentions the total.
How much money's in it?
$6 million cash.
6 million?
Bullshit.
No, it's there at the end of the basement hall. There's a door. Key is here. This is it.
V and Kramer head to the basement, instructing those remaining upstairs to monitor them through the surveillance cameras and to avoid shooting anyone while they're retrieving the money. Afterward, Michael will descend to create a hole in the pipeline, which will serve as their escape route. Leah escorts the clerk to a separate office from where she can observe the pair through the surveillance feed. Meanwhile, V and Kramer reach the basement and locate the necessary door. Upstairs, Michael watches over the hostages, growing irritated when they attempt to speak to him. One of the captives, unable to bear the situation, removes the bag from their head. In response, Leah locks them in the vault. For a moment, silence reigns, but soon Susan speaks up, pleading to be escorted to the restroom. Downstairs, Kramer and V discover a metal door fitted with wheel locks, indicating the security level of the vault. After examining it, Kramer admits that it will take at least 20 minutes to break in. V steps away to explore the basement while Kramer begins working on the door. Suddenly, the building's lights start to flicker.
It's gotta be a power surge or something.
Leah asks Cyrus to keep an eye on the assistant manager while she checks on the hostages. Peeking outside, she notices police cars parked in front of the bank, with the guard's radio transmitting a query about the situation inside.
Unit 4919, are you still at 2347?
Meanwhile, Michael escorts Susan to the restroom, and she tries to engage him in conversation. Embarrassed, he admits that he, too, would find it impossible to use the restroom under observation. Leaving her in the stall, he goes to the sink, washing his hands and nervously chatting.
What's your name?
Susan.
Back in the office, the assistant manager starts talking to Leah.
Who's in charge?
Who do you think?
That's the problem. It doesn't seem like anyone's in charge.
In the basement, Kramer diligently works on the vault door. As the lock begins to yield, the flickering lights intensify, alarming Leah. V, still exploring the basement, thinks she sees a face in one of the old storage rooms. Michael, washing his hands, reveals that one of his fingers is bandaged and still bleeding. Susan again attempts to connect, insisting that he's not a bad person. Michael asks if she has siblings she loves, irritated with himself for opening up.
Are those your sisters out there?
You know, sometimes you just don't want to piss off the wrong people. No matter what you're trying to do.
He promises Susan that no one will get hurt today and orders her back to the hall. When Leah sees Michael bringing Susan back, she scolds him for deviating from the plan.
What's going on?
What do you mean,
Why are
what's
you
going
not cutting the pipe?
I'm going right now.
We need to make sure that we have a way out of here.
I'm doing it.
Her anxiety spikes as she struggles to understand how the police discovered the robbery. Michael heads to another part of the basement to cut into the pipeline for their escape route, but V intercepts him, admitting that she saw something unsettling downstairs and feels uneasy.
I don't know.
What the f do you think, Michael? We're just gonna like slip out the back with a fucking pile of money and everything's just gonna be like dandy again? We're gonna buy some big fucking mansions in Stillwood Park and maybe we'll get some daisies and we'll lay in my mom's grave. And then we'll be a big, happy family again. Come on, Aaron.
V heads upstairs, leaving Michael to prepare their escape. Cyrus takes over guarding the hostages while the sisters monitor Kramer's progress in the basement. Michael finds the pipeline they need and begins setting up his tools. Finally, Kramer successfully unlocks the vault, but the lights suddenly go out. He notices two figures with filthy bags over their heads in the corridor.
What's he looking at? What are you looking at?
Get the fuck upstairs with the others.
Leah and V try to reach Kramer, but the radio fails, and the surveillance feed shows no one but him. As Kramer searches for his weapon, the number of figures before him multiplies, and the flickering lights grow more intense. While the sisters watch the lamps, Kramer is dragged into an old storage room. Michael hears his blood-curdling screams. The sisters are genuinely terrified.
Is there someone down there? Is there someone down there? Have you seen somebody when I wasn't up here? Was there someone down there?
down there. No
I'm
one's
going
down there.
Wake up!
Leah asks Cyrus to count the hostages upstairs. The lights flicker again, and the door to the room where the hostages are held slams shut, trapping V. Leah calls for Michael, who has the master key set, to bring them immediately. Meanwhile, Cyrus notices a person in a white mask among the captives and grabs a rifle. V tries to force open the door as Cyrus hears screams and strange noises coming from the hostage room. In the basement, unknown figures torment Kramer. The lights flicker, and Cyrus watches in horror as the group of captives in filthy bags grows in number, advancing on him. The person in the white mask shoves the rifle into Cyrus's mouth. The lights come on, and the doors open. Cyrus is nowhere to be seen, and the hostages remain seated as before. Meanwhile, Michael finds Kramer's lighter. Then he discovers Kramer tied to a chair, his eyes gouged out. Upon hearing Michael, Kramer begs him, "Don't do it," and then drills into his own skull. Leah confronts the assistant manager.
No lies. Short answers. What the fuck is down there?
I swear to God, I don't know.
At that moment, the phone rings. Leah answers, and Detective Eager demands to speak to whoever is in charge to resolve the situation. Seeing the police preparing to storm the building, Leah replies and demands 30 minutes. Otherwise, the hostages will die.
Okay, this is how this is gonna go, Detective. You're gonna give me 30 minutes and I'll pretend that you never called and I will make sure that everyone gets out okay.
Trying to determine who tipped off the police, Leah concludes it must have been Susan. V searches for their accomplices downstairs but finds nothing. Leah interrogates Susan, who recounts horrifying details.
There's something down there. In the basement. The vault. We're not alone.
Who's down there?
No one goes down there, not even security. Because of what happened back in 1982. A man tried to rob the bank. The man, he was deranged. He held them hostage for days. He made them shoot each other, starting with the bank manager.
Leah doesn't believe her, smashes a desk lamp, and threatens to disfigure her. Michael interrupts, reporting Kramer's death and insisting they leave, as something is wrong with the place.
Okay.
Michael? Michael?
We had one rule. One.
V suddenly appears with a bag of money. She is informed about Kramer's death and the police presence, but dismisses it, claiming they've succeeded. However, Leah examines the bills.
1982. It's all from 1982. Every bill is from 1982. Every single bill.
Well, who cares? It's money. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what this
As
is about?
tensions rise to the brink of violence, Leah notices red laser sights on her sister's chest. A shot from outside shatters the window, but Leah knocks V to the ground, saving her life. The assistant manager sows doubt, telling V that Leah is crazy and untrustworthy. He insists that unless V acts, people will die. V, however, assures him that no one will be harmed. The phone rings again. Leah realizes the situation is spiraling out of control. She interrogates the guard, trying to understand why the police opened fire.
Emotions are as high out there as they are in here. There's confusion, miscommunication. You assume they're organized out there. I guarantee you they are not organized. Hell, there are probably 3 different departments all vying for command: police, FBI, ATF. Who the hell knows? You don't know who's in charge, and neither do they.
The guard advises Leah to release the hostages to save herself. Meanwhile, Michael finishes cutting into the pipeline and hears moans and cries for help. Leah notices the indicator for an outgoing call on the office phone. Picking up the receiver, she hears,
This is the Train Trust. We have a robbery in progress at 23 Forsyth. Please send the police. In progress right now. They're in the building.
Can you just grab the assailant?
They're taking hostages, so it's soon as you can.
Dropping the phone, she looks out the window and sees Detective Eager. Meanwhile, Michael finds an injured woman on the floor and wants to help her.
Please don't hurt me. Please.
No. Nobody's gonna hurt you.
But she suddenly transforms into a charred corpse and reaches out toward him. Terrified, Michael flees. Leah answers Detective Eager's call.
What are you doing, Detective?
Listen to me. We spotted what we thought was a civilian in distress, and an order was given. But you have my word. We're standing down. We don't want anyone to get hurt, including you. You have my word.
Do you have any idea who you're dealing with? I can only control these guys for so long.
Same as me, so you gotta give us something to work with.
Okay.
At the same time, V heads downstairs to search for her brother and discovers Cyrus's headless body. Leah steps outside, releasing one of the hostages, and demands to know the name of the person who contacted the police. Eager assures her that they received an unclear message over the radio and that no phone calls were made.
We got something on the radio. It was garbled. It sounded like trouble. That was it. No phone calls.
Get out of here. Go.
Leah returns to the phone and listens to the message again.
Hello. This is the Train Trust. We have a robbery in progress at 23 Forsyth. Please send the police. In progress right now. They're in the building. They're taking hostages, so as soon as you can.
This time, the voice clearly demands that she hang up. In the basement, V sees Michael pouring gasoline on the floor. He pleads with her to escape the bank but refuses to leave himself. V finds the exit while Michael sets the corridor on fire, attempting to block their escape route from the pursuers. Upstairs, the fire alarm activates.
Now they have to come in. The police. They have no choice. Please, you have to let them go.
Go.
Maybe I was wrong about you.
Go.
Leah releases the hostages, grabs a bag of money, and heads to the basement despite warnings from the bank's security officer, who begs her not to go.
Don't go down there!
Police storm the building and fire at Leah. She falls on the staircase, injuring her leg, but continues toward the pipeline. Everyone flees except the assistant manager, who silently watches Leah leave. Meanwhile, Michael continues setting fire to the bank. As Leah reaches the pipe opening, she suddenly hears Michael's voice and heads to the old vault. The door begins to close, trapping her with the ghosts of the hostages. But Michael arrives just in time to save her. He tells her to run, promising to hold off the ghosts.
Keep moving. I'll be right behind you.
As Leah dons a firefighter's uniform, she is attacked by the man in the white mask and the ghosts of the hostages. Michael ignites the surrounding area, allowing Leah to escape through the pipe. The next day, Leah drives down a dirt road, listening to a radio report about the armed robbery and fire. The report states that the robbers died in the blaze. Suddenly, V stops her on the road. Leah shows her the bag of money. When V realizes that Michael is dead, the sisters cry, mourning their brother.
Where is he?
He's dead. V.
Meanwhile, Eager continues his investigation. He reviews footage of the robbers' deaths, where only the robbers themselves are visible. No one can identify the assistant manager who guided the robbers to the old vault. Witnesses try to recall anything about the man, who had detailed knowledge of the bank's security system, but they come up empty. Susan, who has worked at the bank for 10 years, doesn't remember such an employee. However, she suddenly recognizes him in a photo on the wall of the police station. The man, shown in the past, hears screams behind a door and picks up the phone. The figure in the white mask appears and places a gun to his head. Susan points to the photo, identifying him as the same man.
That's not possible.
He was one of the victims of the 1982 robbery. He was the one who made the infamous call heard by so many people before being shot. On the road, Leah tries to start the car, but nothing happens. V opens the hood, and suddenly the radio starts playing a song that was popular during the 1982 robbery. As Leah struggles with the ignition, V closes the hood, and Leah sees the man in the mask standing behind V. He grabs her as Leah screams in horror. The film has an intriguing premise, so it's worth overlooking certain plot and production inconsistencies, as the resolution turns out to be quite captivating.